All right, you guys, we are back. It's your boy Q, and up next we have how J. Cole just made the Kendrick and Drake beef more complicated. Shout out to Fantastic Hip Hop for the video. If you guys haven't heard it yet, J. Cole dropped a record entitled Port Antonio, where he goes into a little more detail as to why he stepped away from the Drake and Kendrick Lamar beef. It definitely came out to some mixed reviews and some mixed responses. Some people saying he was contradicting himself, but while there is some bars that you could probably see as that, do feel like he did go off. The song is dope. I feel like the biggest thing that came from this is the fact that he bigged up Drake so much, and obviously knowing how the climate is right now, that's something that obviously isn't going to be received very well. But yeah, man, Cole has definitely been rapping about him being the top rapper for a long time, but after bowing out of the beef, like that definitely changed the perception that a lot of people had of him. At the time, the guy was on fire. His feature run was he's been on a few years long feature run where he was killing everything. And this definitely changed the perception. So while I am a J. Cole fan, it would have been dope to see him test his skills, you know what I mean? Like test his kung fu against the other masters. But obviously that's something that didn't happen. He chose to bow out in favor of his peace, which all power to him because he is one of those guys that takes pride in being authentic to himself. Yeah, no one's perfect. He just was influenced by the people that were egging him on around him, which no one's perfect, man. But it's something that he definitely regrets. But enough dilly-dallying. Let's jump right into the video. Again, it's entitled How J. Cole Just Made the Kendrick and Drake Beef More Complicated.
Now, right now with J. Cole, after months of initial confusion when he backed out of the beef and apologized to Kendrick Lamar, and then speculation which was seemingly telling us that after being subbed and jabbed at over and over again by Drake through both his major diss tracks in various lines and through petty posts on social media that the duo was just on tour together and made a hit song like
That's the other thing. Him bigging him up, knowing full well that, come on, man, if we all know that those subs were more than likely directed at him, he should know that as well. So that's definitely a point that people, including myself, were bringing up. Like, yo, fam, this dude was just subbing you.
first-person shooter were no longer on good terms. After the entire hip-hop world has been trying to figure out where exactly Cole stands after a feud where no matter how you spin it, he was right in the middle of. Cole has finally given us the answers that we have been searching so hard to find out with his new track Port Antonio. And now first off with this song, before we get into what Cole has said and what this all means for him in hip-hop, I think it's great that unlike most other rappers in this feud who were caught up in the cross of it and just have left confusing hints out to fans to figure out where they really
Nah, he's always been a pretty transparent guy. So it's something that like I didn't expect it because it just has been so far removed since when it happened. But yeah, man, J. Cole is definitely somebody that's gotten vulnerable in his music and speaks about things that are happening in his life. This being a very huge event in his life.
stand and how they feel. J. Cole has now actually told us where his mind was at when he made one of the most polarizing and shocking decisions in rap beef and really all of hip-hop history. And now with this song, in its entirety, it functions as an intimate track where after so much noise and chaos in hip-hop, we are facing J. Cole's most personal and reflective thoughts, and the somber beat on this cut only reflects this idea. And so now with the perfect musical canvas to tell us some of the most coveted and sought after information in all of rap right now, Cole gets to work on this track, and after he shows off his lyrical skill on the first verse, things take a much more serious turn on the second verse, as Cole talks about the current state of hip-hop and the culture, and as he talks about how he doesn't approve of where this new generation is headed in the genre, he begins to address the entire controversy.
It's crazy because that is something that Kendrick has definitely been trying to push. The fact that he doesn't like the direction of the industry either. So that's something that probably would align more with him than with like Drake. But yeah, obviously he wants to protect that friendship.
Controversy surrounding him and rap's greatest beef of the century, as he says. I pulled the plug because I seen where that was about to go, which now
Gotta be the Schoolboy Q call.
Actually, with this bar off rip, this seems to confirm the story that Schoolboy Q came and told J. Cole himself that things with Kendrick and Drake were going to go in a way that was way more serious than just exchange.
Yeah, and I do feel like if Schoolboy Q wouldn't have made the call and this was just, all right, let's see who's the best rapper, and it wasn't going to get this personal, then he more than likely would have still been involved. Even in this record, he talks about how he's the best and no one could stop him. So it's safe to assume that if he got word that this was just going to be a friendly competition, which obviously wasn't the case, this is something that definitely a lot of mud has been slung in both directions, but I feel like the dirtiest person right now is definitely Drake. So yeah, man, J. Cole just has to be careful who he aligns with, at least publicly, because right now like aligning yourself and pledging your allegiance to Drake, it really isn't the smartest thing right now, especially the way people feel about him. If he really feels this and this is his true authentic self and he really believes this, dope. Good for him. More power to him. But for him subbing Kendrick and accusing him of using bots to change narratives and stuff like that, that's obviously something that if Kendrick feels like it's for him, which at least to me it's pretty much directed at him, you're gonna get a response. And we all saw what he did to Drake. And while I feel like the Kendrick and J. Cole matchup would be much better, I still don't feel like Kendrick would lose that battle, you know? Apart from his rapping, the dude is great with cadences and flows and manipulating his voice, which do very well when it comes to a battle. The emotions you convey when you combine all that stuff together, you really can't match that by just rapping. You're gonna have to do a little more. It's gonna be interesting to see how this develops after this. But the mere fact that Drake has been subbing J. Cole for a while now, it's like, bro, you didn't have to do this record. J. Cole didn't have to like reference Drake at all. And honestly, probably shouldn't have brought up Kendrick at all. He should have just made some fire music, which is something he's great at. The dude is still elite with the pen. It's just that his reputation is still taking a hit, obviously. If not, we wouldn't be having these conversations. Time will tell. But yeah, Drake definitely threw a bunch of subs your way, fam.
Changing bars for the sport of it, because in the context of everything we now understand, there is no other way that J. Cole would have this intuition to back out if just days before coming to this conclusion, he was releasing a full-on diss track to Kendrick. So at least with this bar off rip, we seem to have a definitive reasoning to why Cole decided to back out as those pieces are put together, and from here, Cole goes into greater detail about this decision and his choice as he talks about the Kendrick and Drake situation, saying, "They wanted blood, they wanted clicks to make they pockets grow. They see this fire in my pen and think I'm dodging smoke. I wouldn't have lost a battle, dog. I would have lost a bro. I would have gained a foe. And now here." Cole.
I mean, obviously him referring that the thing he feared the most was losing the friendship, whether it be with Drake or Kendrick. It feels like now after this record, it seems like he valued the Drake relationship more. Obviously, if he's the one he's shouting out, especially after the whole beef went down, he's still bringing up Drake after like the hit his reputation took. And while I do feel money, obviously it's the music business. They're all interested in making money, even from a beef, you know, especially from a beef. This thing generated so much money for everyone. But I also do feel like Kendrick did it like standing on his moral ground. I do feel like he like sees and objects to like Drake's negative impact on the culture. So for me, it's not just the money. Obviously, he didn't like him at all. It's just a plus that you get to make money while still dismantling somebody that you seem to not like.
Cole is telling us with the stakes of this beef being so much higher than we could have ever imagined, he realized that joining in was ultimately going to end up making him a full-on enemy to Kendrick
Well, he didn't want to take it personal. Like I said, if it was just rap, he probably would have engaged.
Lamar for good, who he expresses that he has love for in these bars. Although it's strange that while he is saying things like these, he is still boasting that he would have won this battle, which we will get into later, and adding some much needed context to all of this.
He probably would have fared better than Drake, but I don't think he would have won.
Cole explains why he didn't engage even more, as he says. And all for what? Just to attain some more props from strangers that don't got a clue what I've been aiming for? Which, regardless of how we criticize Cole for backing out and how this may affect his actual rap legacy, as a person, I think you have to respect him for standing on his own morals. And
I think in time people will be able to separate this and this just be a footnote in the story of J. Cole, because the dude is a beast. The dude is elite. He's a monster. The dude was on a monstrous run with the features, and this definitely stalled that out for a little bit. But I'm more than sure he'll like be able to reclaim most of that back anyway.
And principles, regardless of what others may think. And now bringing this picture full circle, Cole lets everything else out with some of the most important bars of the year, as right from the perspective of the guy who was in the middle of this thing. He weighs in on everything that went down between this entire trio of him, Kendrick, and Drake by saying, "I understand the thirst of being first that made them both swing. Protecting legacy, so lines got crossed, perhaps regrettably. My friends went to war, I walked away with all they blood on me. Now some will discredit me, try to wipe away my pedigree, but please find a person that's rapping this incredibly." And with these,
the dude puts on a masterclass almost every time he raps, other than like Grippy. But like, you can't deny that the dude is one of the most talented rappers in the industry. He may have taken himself out of the equation for being number one to a lot of people, but yeah, man, the dude could still rap his ass off. I don't think anyone can deny that from him. But we also can't lie and say that some of the choices he made haven't hurt him a little bit. I still think he's fire. I don't think this really changes his legacy too much. when it's all said and done, like you're gonna look back at this dude's catalog and be like, this dude was one of the best to do it, and there's no denying that. But to think this didn't have an impact on his career, these videos wouldn't be made if that was the case.
Bars, Cole really lets us further into his mind than ever as he breaks down this entire feud from his eyes and talks about the glory that was involved and ultimately fought for in this beef. And now, while most of this only reaffirms his points that this feud went too far and that Cole was caught in the ugly middle of it all, what's interesting is that Cole is saying that Kendrick and Drake very well may regret some of the things they said about one another in this battle. And now with this, while I get from Cole's stance why he feels this way and why he would say this, I think this narrative that what went down between Kendrick and Drake got so out of hand and that this is something unprecedented for rap beef has been way overblown. As when we look at the grand lineage of rap beefs and even in very high profile ones like Jay-Z and Nas, in many instances there were a lot worse things and
Bro, Nas and Jay-Z were literally saying they were smashing each other's chicks. Yeah, like the PDF allegation is one of those allegations that, man, that's pretty much the most damning title you can give to anyone. PDF, like, fam, you're a freaking devil at that point. You become an instant pariah, even if it's not true. Like, it's crazy. Like, a narrative doesn't have to be true for it to negatively impact, like, your relationships, your career, any of that sort. People will put these theories into the ethos, and even if they're not true, can still have a huge impact on you.
lot more obscene things said, and Cole should very well know this as he modeled his diss track 7-Minute Drill off a lot of what Jay-Z did to Nas on his track Takeover. But beyond what this reveals about what Cole thought about what went down, more importantly, to the core of this song, the current state of J. Cole's career, and all of hip-hop for that matter. Near the end of this track's second and final verse, he raps about the most complicated piece to this entire equation, because while his apology and bars have already shown that Cole still loves and respects Kendrick Lamar, from his feature run as of recent, which has been with all of Drake's biggest enemies, to Drake blatantly
That is true, man. You did a track with Daylight, you did a track with ASAP Rocky, you got on a record with Future. Yeah, you pretty much worked with anybody that had any smoke with Drake, other than maybe Rick Ross.
dissing Cole. We have been waiting to see what J. Cole truly has to say about what is going down between him and Drake once and for all. And now finally addressing this, Cole says, "They say I'm picking sides, you don't lie on me. To start another war, Drake, you'll always be my. I ain't ashamed to say that you did a lot for me. F all the narratives." And now as Cole closes this verse out talking about where his love for rap really lies and what his purpose on the mic is, he does end this track, which has finally told us so much in a powerful way. But with this said, as Cole is now saying that after all of the speculation and drama that he still loves Drake and that he will never not appreciate somebody who has been so integral to his career in various instances and eras. While I respect Cole on one hand for really showing and explaining on this track that he does not care about his rap legacy more than he cares about his actual humanity, and as an extension of that, it kinda makes sense why Cole is still welcoming Drake into his circle with open arms. I have to say that not even as a rapper, but just a person who clearly respects his peace, but also over everything himself to make tough decisions. I think letting Drake off the hook went off rip based on your decision to back out of this beef. He clowned you on some of the most important songs of the year and decided to take your character and depict you out.
I really think that Drake was expecting it to be a 2-verse-1 against Kendrick, but obviously it didn't go that way. And he definitely seemed salty for a while because there were also posts that he made that obviously were subbing Cole as well. But that's what makes it a little weird that Cole is bigging up Drake. Like, bam, the dude's been kind of like clowning on you for a little bit.
To be a very weak man, J. Cole needs to understand that you don't have to be friends with everyone, and that while you don't have to go all out,
he seems like a genuinely nice guy. Like, the dude seems like a really stand-up guy. So while I do feel like he was conflicted with his decision in like dissing Kendrick, you can't come back with some of the lines you had in this record. But that being said, like, to me, the dude is still a beast.
and diss Drake if that's not the way you move. We understand that. I think the fact that he is letting Drake just get a pass for disrespecting him over and over again since this summer,
that's crazy. I used to live up by that building in New York,
is just too generous to Drake. And now maybe Cole's right here and Drake will apologize to him and this will all make things better. But at this point, as Drake seems to be only getting more bitter and bitter about the outcomes of things and really deep down inside,
Drake has definitely been spiraling. That rant where he was trying to say he was like an underdog and he was a victim and everyone was switching up on him, I feel like he's going to be alienating himself from everybody other than maybe his few Toronto people that he still has in his circle. And I don't know if that's the best decision, but who knows? Maybe it makes him lock in and really refocus and put out some better music. Because I feel like right now he can't put out anything mediocre. He's got to come out with a classic, and even then, it's not going to change everyone's mind. You might get a few casuals, but there's people that have already cemented their views on him.
Side. Seems like he resents J. Cole in a way for exiting this thing and leaving him in a 1v1.
I think Drake might still throw a line towards Cole, like even though Cole made this record. I can totally see Drake doing something petty like that.
One against Kendrick Lamar. While I think it's great that J. Cole became the first rapper after this beef to just give us a song where he is straight up telling us how he feels and is giving us the answers we have been waiting to see, I think the song also exposes the problems I still have with Cole as an MC, which is that he will show us or say one thing, and then tell us another, and then act like we are the ones who are crazy, because with this situation with Drake, beyond now how Cole is putting his foot on it here, are we supposed to believe that Cole teaming up with Future, Metro Boomin, A$AP Rocky, and Kendrick Lamar affiliates was all a coincidence? Because from the songs...
Just because a record is coming out doesn't mean that it was recently recorded. Sometimes these people have these records on ice for years. And if you're pulling a move like a Rocky, maybe you're going to go and put a Cole verse that you've been had, or any of these other artists will go and put on a verse that they've had from before the beef, just to show that there like is some type of like association there, which is obviously going to cause a rift if he's doing records with his ops, you know? But yeah, sometimes it's just like a chess move. Like, hey, you know what? I still got a feature from this guy. That's his homie. Let's put it out on the record. And people are going to automatically assume that now your allegiance is with me.
Is clear to even his lyrics all throughout his career in recent years, which have told us that he will destroy any rapper if they ever test or even disrespect his name. It is strange and weakens the value of what he is saying from the perspective purely of the music, as Cole is just inconsistent with the message.
I think if it was just rap, he would have been down. But Schoolboy Q must have told him that, like, yo, man, this guy is ready to go no holds barred if Drake goes that way. I feel like the beef really upped its level of intensity as soon as Drake started bringing up Kendrick's wife and like more personal stuff. And that's after Kendrick gave him a warning that, like, if you keep it clean, I'll keep it clean. And Drake chose to not go that route, which Drake underestimated heavily. And honestly, I feel like he definitely regrets that now.
And signals he delivers, but regardless of this rap-related criticism. Despite how confusing Cole can be, even on this song, because his points seem to contradict one another, and while he's saying that he does not want to be involved with beef, he still tiptoes around the idea and throws out subliminals that he could go with any rapper toe-to-toe. Which, at the end of the day, in terms of this beef...
Which you have to have if you want to be the guy, elite. But like I said, him bowing out, for a lot of people, that basically took him out of the equation, which... it may not be the fairest thing because the dude can still rap. Him bowing out doesn't like take away his skill. Obviously, the dude is still a master at rap. The dude is a rap savant. I just think people are looking at him a little funny, but I think his catalog will be as revered as it was before when it's all said and done. It's just right now, this is the story. And I don't think him aligning himself with Drake after Drake's been subbing him for so many months is the greatest of looks. Nor is it like subbing Kendrick now after saying like you didn't want any smoke with nobody. For me, those are where some of the contradictions lie. Again, he rapped his ass off. There's two sides to putting your art out there for consumption, and that's, yeah, you get the praise, but there also might be criticism that comes with that. And a lot of times we do need to hear it to better ourselves. That still doesn't take away how nice like J. Cole is.
Being a message to the rap world makes a lot of this feel weird, because while J. Cole is trying to choose peace, he is still coming at and trying to aggravate his opponents. Regardless of my criticisms with this track as a statement to hip-hop and on the rap world. At the end of this all, I gotta hand it to J. Cole for being brave enough to speak his mind directly in a time where every other rapper is just leaving faint clues about how they feel and where they stand in this beef. And now going forward, I'm sure with Cole releasing such a massive and important track into the rap world, from Kendrick Lamar to Drake to everybody else, I am sure this moment will only cause more rappers to respond accordingly. So now with all this said, let me know. What do you think of J. Cole's new song, and are you happy with the truth he has given us, or do you think he may be trying to back...
Well, if that's his truth, what can we say? You know what I mean? We can't determine how somebody else feels or reacts in any given situation. If he's being his truest, most authentic self, then more power to him. People are going to have their opinion. Everyone has one. Hearing that record, obviously, you got to say that the dude went off. The dude can rap, and very well. The dude has this double entendres, triple entendres, all that stuff. The dude is nice. And I feel like if he would have omitted some of the stuff about Drake and Kendrick, then the track would have probably been received even better. Right now, the only things people are pointing to is obviously the Drake line and the Kendrick stuff, which is obviously something that's putting more eyes on this record because it is touching on those topics. if you heard that record, you can't deny that the dude is one of the most talented people in the industry. The dude is a monster rapper. As far as like, all right, would he win in a beef against Kendrick? I don't really think so. I feel like the only complicated thing that could happen from this record is what I said in the intro. Like the dude might get a few bars directed at him. And I still feel like even with this song being put out and him bigging up Drake, I could totally see Drake still like subbing him and dissing him on the low, because that's, if he's anything, we know that he's sensitive and petty. And he was subbing him for a while. He just had that rant at Nostalgia talking about everyone switching up on you. We're definitely going to see how this develops. As a J. Cole fan, I do see why people were disappointed with him bowing out, but he more than likely got a serious phone call from Schoolboy Q detailing that, that Kendrick was ready to go no holds barred and pull no punches in this beef. And obviously that's something that J. Cole wasn't up for. Yeah, his reputation did take a hit, but it's not something that he can't build back up. Him bigging himself up as the #1 rapper, that's another subject. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people that are going to hold this over his head, the fact that he did bow out of the beef, regardless of what his reasons were. But yeah, man, time will tell. Definitely let me know in the comments what you guys think. What do you guys think about the record? Do you guys think the record made the beef more complicated? And do you guys think Kendrick is going to shoot a few bars his way? Kendrick has proven himself to be very, very competitive. And yeah, if you're going to diss him, you're going to get some words back. But definitely let me know in the comments what you guys think. Definitely hit the like and subscribe button, guys. The Dutch Channel Wonders. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are freaking amazing. Yeah, and thank you guys so much. Like, the growth on the channel has been super, super dope. And all the congrats. Like, bam, you guys are awesome. So, yeah, it's all thanks to you guys. Let's keep growing the channel. And yeah, I hope you guys love the video. And I hope to see you guys soon.